welcome to the Learning Planet Youth Design Challenge community for this announcement today of the finalists of the Learning Planet Youth Design Challenge 2024-25 and the celebration of the challenge for this year. It is such a pleasure to be with you today. My name's Ed Stevenette from the Learning Planet Institute team. I am joined in this room in person by an amazing group of colleagues, friends from the Learning Planet Institute, but also we're delighted to have some of our jury members here. So it's a pleasure to have Randy Hunt, who'll give a wave, you'll hear from in a little bit, the head of design at Notion. We've got Frederick Lindenkromer, the research co-creation at the Inner Development Goals. We have some youth members who have been with us in person for the events at the festival. We've got Daniel, we have Jerry as well. And so we have all of you as well joining from around the world for this celebration of the Youth Design Challenge. And it is particularly wonderful to see so many finalists and participants joining on board who have been such a brilliant part of this challenge this year. What we're going to do over the course of the session is that you will discover the finalists from this year. You will also hear a little bit from the members of the jury who will be commentating on the submissions. Also discovering those who are prize winners from the challenge. And then we'll be hearing from you as well, because we really are coming into this session wanting to focus, as we've been from the very beginning of this challenge, on how can we help to design the future of learning with youth, and how can we place youth-led education projects at the front and center of the education transformation and the change that we need to see in education as well. But very briefly, to begin on the design challenge itself, and if you can go to the next slide. So the design challenge is an invitation led by ourselves at Learning Planet Institute alongside UNESCO to invite young people from around the world to pitch their ideas of learning programs for their dream learning institution. It was an invitation to see around the world what young people are working on to really rethink education for them. And so starting last year, where we had a brilliant first edition, we have continued on over the course of this year with hundreds of submissions and participants from around the world. And what we've been inviting these participants to do is to propose a program on one of three core themes, which is for us, we see as really essential when looking at the futures of education. So firstly, on flourishing, these are programs for us looking at particularly well-being in education. Secondly, on engagement. So how can we foster programs on inclusion, social justice and peace building? And then lastly, on sustainability. And so focused on how we can bring climate education at the heart of our curriculums as well. And so if we go to the next slide, from launching in September at the Learning Planet, at the UN General Assembly in New York, where we had many of you there with us in person, we then invited students, partners around the world to share with their students to sign up for the challenge up until December. And so if you head actually to the next slide, IKEA, and then if you, the one just after that, yeah, thank you, and then we'll pop back. We were delighted to have submissions and people signing up from around the world. So over 1,000 young people signing up from 106 different countries. And from that, we had almost 300 final submissions. And we've already put the link in the chat. And perhaps if Mia, if you can share that link again, but you're able to discover all of these submissions per country. And what we must say is we're truly thankful. And this design challenge is a success as a result of all of the participants around the world who decided to pitch in and to share their ideas. And what's been even more incredible is seeing how these participants have been sharing and collaborating together over the past months as well. And so this gives us a lot of excitement as we build this challenge over the coming years too. And if you can, I can ask Ikea you to go back to the previous slide. There we go, thank you. I got that in the wrong order. This challenge also is has been massively supported by our community of our jury. So our jury has come from areas connected directly to education, to the worlds of design, business, to philanthropy as well, coming from regions around the world, from different ages too. But we give huge thanks to them, and you'll be able to hear more from Johnson, from Anna, from Bianca, from Randy in the room here, Radhika, Frederick, Pearl, our winner from the Design Challenge last year, and Peter, over the course of the session today about their experience seeing some of your amazing programs as well. And this is also the last point I'll say before we pass on to the finalists. This has been in close collaboration with our partners at UNESCO, who have helped us to launch the challenge in New York in September. And so we'd love to give the floor to Stefania Giannini, the Assistant Director General for Education at UNESCO, to share her experience of the challenge this year.
Dear participants of the Learning Planet Festival, the Learning Planet Youth Design Challenge exemplifies what education in the 21st century should strive to be. A dynamic and inclusive process that empowers young people to reimagine learning for a better future and be co-creators of this new contest. To the finalists, your ideas inspire us to rethink education systems, making them more equitable, inclusive, and relevant to the challenges of our times. You remind us that the future of learning is not something to passively await, but something we must actively design together. The support of a global community, leaders in advocacy, design, and philanthropy is crucial to bringing these ideas to life. As we discuss how to develop and scale these projects, let's remember that co-creation is at the heart of sustainable change. By working together, thinking together, across generations and sectors, we can shape education systems that prepare learners to thrive in a rapidly evolving world. As we celebrate this International Day of Education 2025, let's reimagine together how to make education a driving force for a more just, sustainable, and inclusive future for all. Thank you. I look forward to seeing how today's discussions and projects will transform education for the better. And congratulations again. Enjoy the festival.
Thank you so much to Stefania, and there is a full day of events happening at UNESCO today on the International Day of Education, and we have been part of hundreds of events as well that are organised in the context of the Learning Planet Festival, which we are right in the middle of at the moment, our global celebration of learning to take care of oneself, others, and the planet. And so we'll be sharing as well in the chat too, a bit more about what has been happening around the world for that celebration as well. But with no further ado, it's time to give the floor to our finalists. And so I'm delighted to, in our first category of sustainability, to give the floor first to Sahar Amini from Afghanistan, for her project or program, Girls Code, Building Futures Through Ethical Tech Education. And so Sahar, if you can say hello, we can hear you, and I will also help to share the screen towards your project page too. Let us know if you can hear us, Sahar. Sahar, we can't hear you just for the moment.
Hello, sir. Hope you are doing well.
There we go. Hi, Sahar. Welcome. So I give the floor to you to present in a minute your learning program.
Yes, sure. By permission of all juries, I want to present my project. My project was the GAL codes, Building Future Through Ethical Tech Education. And also, I want to tell something about the program, that it is a transformative program aimed to empower Afghan girls aged 18 to 45 by providing them with a skill to use technology for positive social change. And also it will focus on issues such as healthcare awareness, job connectivity, and educational access. And also the GALCODE initiative combine offline learning hubs and online mentorship to ensure accessibility for participants in the area of limited internet areas. And also, our vision is to empower Afghan girls with the skill and knowledge to use technology and as a force for social good. Our mission is close to educational gap for Afghan girls by providing opportunity to learn coding and ethical tech practice, and also empowering them to create solutions for challenges like healthcare, literacy, and employment. And also why we choose this idea for because gender equity to support girl in learning tech skills, and also local impact help communities with tech solution for healthcare and education, and also ethical tech teach responsible and fair use for of technology. And also our program goal is to teach coding and problem solving to create teach solution for local issues, and also to teach responsibilities and ethical use for teach. And to train participants to mentor others. And what participants learn from our program, one is coding basics, ethical tech, problem solving, and mentorship. And how we work by offline hubs, use USB drives and tablets for areas without internet, also online mentorship, global mentors and program feedback, and accessible platform designed for low internet access. And also who can join to our program, our audience is Afghan girls age 18 to 45. And also program theme is long life education skill for the future, gender equity, and that we want to empower girls, and also community impact to solve local problems with tech. And also we want to achieve some goals like you want to.
So
Yeah.
we're just, if it's okay, we'll be sharing the link into the chat as well, because you shared already so much, and it's a wonderful mix, and people will be able to search in more detail through the whole program too. So please do add the link into the chat, and I hope to see as well in the various emojis, applause on the chat as well. So thank you, Sahar, for kicking us off. Joining us from Afghanistan today. And then I'd love now to go from Afghanistan to Mexico, where we have Montserrat Galeana Cruz. For her program, she'll be sharing on Lagom, community gardens, and environmental education.
Hello to everyone. Good morning from Mexico City. My name is Montserrat Galeana, and I'm proud to represent Lagom. This project reshapes the way I see the world and my role in making a difference. At Lagoon, I work with children and youth, teaching sustainability in a way that empowers them to believe their voices matter, no matter their age or background. And being part of this challenge excites me because it gives me the chance to explore fresh ideas, exchange perspectives, and collaborate with incredible change makers. Uh, for me, this isn't just about finding answers, it's about creating something meaningful together, something that drives collective action and long-term impact. Every day I learn that love, passion, and dedication are at the heart of impactful work. I'm here to grow, share experience, and connect with all of you as we work toward a better and a more sustainable future. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Montserrat. We're applauding through the room as well. And indeed, we had a number of different submissions from around the world looking at how we can teach local, sustainable education as well. And I'll await for the jury to share more about their experience of that. But first, I just to say for our two other finalists, for Oluchi and Shambavi, Oluchi is very unwell at the moment, and we're thinking of her in Nigeria, but she sent through very much her thanks, and we'll be putting her project into the chat as well. From Nigeria on green edit, so teaching, particularly looking at climate change through audits with students as well. And so perhaps she said she might try to come before the end. We might be able to get back to it. And as well, Shambavi, who is slightly delayed, and we should be able to come back to, from Canada, for wisdom of the past, tools for the future. So humanist learning for a sustainable world. And so that really brought through and covered looking at Indigenous learning as well with sustainability. So we will hopefully come back to Shambavi. I wouldn't want to speak for her as well, but that gives a chance to give the floor to the first two of our jury today to share some of their reactions from why they particularly appreciated these submissions in the category of sustainability. And so firstly, I think I'd love to give the floor to Radhika Iyengar from Columbia University, UNSCSN, the Mission 4.7 Alliance, among many, many other things. So Radhika, if you could share what inspired you from these submissions this year.
Thank you so much, Ed. It's such a pleasure to be here. And I just wanted to mention that Ed had given me a very hard task to do because all the projects were so amazing. But they were obviously, we had to choose some that were exceptional, and it was a very hard task. And I just wanted to applaud all the participants here who had submitted across the globe, as Ed mentioned. Just to talk about the four in this category, the sustainability category. Girls on Court, Sir, I think you did a fabulous job of including technology, but also including a empowerment element. And I thought that the blend of empowerment and technical tools, girls coding, especially for Afghan girls, I think was really very empowering and very innovative from my perspective. And I thought that the idea of mentorship, idea of making jobs more accessible, idea of empowering girls, mentoring others, and also bringing in the ethical practices, I think completely nailed it for me. And kudos to you for coming up with this idea. And of course, looks like you've been working on it already. So amazing job there. Montserrat, congratulations. This project is very close to my heart because it talks about environmental education. And I think all of us needs to be focusing on environmental education as we are entering 2025. And kudos to your idea about community gardens, because sometimes we feel that we can do empowerment, we can do environmental education in someplace else, but you have used your own community, you have used your own backyard to do this. So I think kudos to your idea of community gardens and creating much more of a eco collaboration in the communities, and through your partnership, I thought that was really amazing to be thinking about eco explorers, as you mentioned, and learning about sustainable consumption, because if you are producing in your backyard, you will be more conscious about wastage, and you'll be more conscious about consumption practices. So kudos to you again. For the participants who are not here, who made it to this category, Green Edit from Nigeria, again, the idea of sustainable development goals, education for sustainable development goals was one of the key criterias here used in this project to instill environmental responsibility and to promote active community engagement. I thought that was a really neat blend of working with the youth to make them aware of sustainable development goals and to bring in this practice of environmental responsibility. And kudos to the program. It was very well detailed, starting with eco audits and taking a community action, very collaborative again. So again, really, this project really stood out. Lastly, from in this category, the wisdom of the past, tools for the future, humanistic aspect. It brought in something that was very two combinations that generally don't go together: indigenous knowledge and AI. So I thought that was a very interesting combination to use AI, but with the idea of indigenous knowledge, and again focusing on sustainability, focusing on learning, focusing on global stewardship to build in this climate resilience. I thought really a great combination as we go forward, looking at AI in ways in which we can help our environment, in ways in which we can learn from our indigenous vast knowledge, and to be blending the two together. I thought was really amazing to showcase cultural heritage, and to showcase our proud knowledge that we have kind of neglected, but hopefully that this project will bring back our ideas of indigenous knowledge, and will be able to use technology for the betterment of our community. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you so much, Radhika. And I know, Radhika, you'll be heading off just before the end, but to go into another session at LearningPlanet Festival. So do enjoy that as well. And with that, I pass on to Anna from the ESF representative for the Global Students Forum. Anna, if you could share some of your reactions from the submissions.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I would like to extend my gratitude to all the organizers of this event. It was an absolute pleasure to serve as a jury of this festival and of this project. And I think the project is truly significant because it provides a platform for a younger generation to generate some innovative ideas and support the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals. I would also like to agree with my colleague Radhika that the evaluation was quite hard because all of the projects were very valuable and interesting. For instance, regarding the LAGOM, I think the project is exemplary in promoting sustainability by educating children regarding the environmental awareness through community gardens. And LAGOM empowered the next generation to take responsibility for our planet's well-being from an early age, and with cooperation with each other, they will be equipped with the knowledge to practice recycling, sustainable consumption, and other vital practices that ensure the healthier planet. Of course, I can say that the project Girls Code is unique because of the context and localized context and significance by strengthening the capacity of the girls in Afghanistan, and it addresses a very crucial things and challenges such as as gender equality and access to education, which I think the most important for the sustainable and future development of the whole society and whole world. And I would also like to comment on other two projects, which is Green Edit and which is also regarding the sustainable development, and it's commendable for its instilling a sense of environment responsibility among participants and fostering active community engagement. This holistic approach not only addresses environmental issues, but also encourages collective actions towards more sustainable future. And the last project was in this sustainable category was the wisdom of the past tools for future. And this project not only tackles environmental challenges and climate change, but does it's in a holistic way and combines the previous knowledge to the innovative approaches. What struck me most about all these projects is their strong commitment to sustainable development and the future. Each project addresses a deep understanding of the challenges we face and offers creative solutions that align with the sustainable development goals. I believe that participants' contributions will play an important role in shaping a more sustainable world and sustainable future for all the generation and all the planet. And thank you once again for the participants and organizers of the project.
Thank you so much, Anna. One final round of applause for the sustainability. Fantastic. Thank you to each of you. And I've added into the chat, you can discover more about the programs via their project page. And for those not familiar, to say that all of the projects that have been submitted for this year are visible on the LearningPlanet projects platform. You can search through looking at keywords, at sustainability, in countries as well. Particular skills too, and so we really encourage you to dive deeper, because there is so much to be inspired by from the finalists particularly, but also from the whole community that have been participating, and there are a huge number of brilliant learning programs and ideas around the theme of sustainability. And with that, we pass on to the next category, which is on engagement, and this category for us covered several different core themes, but it's particularly looking at programs related to how can we ensure that schools and universities, we can offer the support for inclusion, matters of diversity, but also that we are looking, and we've had many submissions around social justice and peace building. And so for us, it's a big part of the role of future schools and institutions being engaged in their community, engaged in key matters of peace and social justice particularly as well. And so it's a very diverse category, and for that we have a diverse set of finalists. So 5 finalists for this category. And firstly, I'd love to give the floor to Arpita, studying in the UK, but from India, to share more about her program, Colour Me In, Conversations on Skin Colour Awareness. So Arpita, over to you.
Hello, everyone. Like Ed said, I'm Arpita, studying my master's in education at the Royal College of Art. I come from India, and usually I've engaged with a lot of things that are about inclusion and just spreading awareness, because there are lots of topics that aren't talked about. So my project for this submission was Colour Me In, a project aimed at dismantling the societal biases that just go around skin color. I myself was part of being sort of a victim for the same. There were biases against it, be it in the society or within the family even. And I felt when I researched more, it just showed that it's such a societal issue, and it becomes a huge bias in considering so many aspects of life. Colour Me In especially uses storytelling and art and a lot of reflective activities to empower the participants, be it younger people or adults who are engaging with children, to challenge the ingrained ideas of bias and to foster inclusivity. It could be for educators who are teaching in a very diverse class, or it could be younger children in terms of how do you communicate these ideas so that from the very beginning they become better for them when they think about these things. It could be about the kind of songs you listen, it could be the movies that we watch, it could be about the billboards that you see on the road. It's extremely diverse. My main aims were engagement and flourishing, where I wanted it to be more interactive and very, very reflective, wherein I probably create a map of what I feel when someone does this to either me or someone else. So a lot of self-expression, again, looking at the history of where did it even come from, so that it helps us think of, oh, these were the things that were before and how do we change them now. So a lot of projects around engagement is something that I usually like to do, and that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amrita. Sorry, I have a reflex to put my mic on the laptop, but we're connected in the room. Thank you so much. Congratulations. And we'll put the link to the project in the chat. And I think it will be best so we can see your faces, that those of you that want to dig deeper, you can be clicking through as the finalists are speaking. And so we'll put the link shortly into the chat for Arpita. And then from Arpita, we go to MD Sadiq Jamal Kaushik from Bangladesh, studying in the UK, for his program Shabdu Shiksha, sound-based learning for the blind. So over to you.
Thank you for giving me the floor. My name is MD Sajimal Kaushik, and I am recently pursuing my degree in civil engineering at East West University, Bangladesh. I am deeply passionate about encourage diversity through innovative solution. I am thrilled to be a finalist with my project Shabdo Shiksha, sound-based learning for the blind in Bangladesh. This initiative addresses the critical challenges faced by visually impaired learners in accessing quality education. It combines traditional tools like braille literacy and mobile learning units with modern technology, such as screen readers, audiobooks, to ensuring that no one is left behind. Education is a fundamental right, and by empowering blind individuals with accessible learning tools, Shabdo Shiksha try to create sustainable. Being finalist is an exciting opportunity to share this vision on a large platform, connect with change maker, and receive valuable insights to make the dream in reality. Thank you for giving me the floor.
Thank you. Congratulations. We've just put the project into the chat to dig a little bit deeper. And from sound-based learning for the blind, we're now coming to the Bridge project from Lenny Ryu, based in Kenya. So Lenny, over to you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lenny Mwankitwo from Nairobi, Kenya, proud home of amazing sunsets and yes, the fastest marathoners in the world. I would like to introduce the Bridge Project. It's a program designed to bring people together to tackle some of the world's biggest challenges. Our world faces enormous challenges, conflicts that divide us, health crises that overwhelm us, and political systems that often seem to work against us. The Bridge Project seeks to address these issues head-on by equipping participants with the knowledge and tools they need to drive meaningful change. So I envision three key pillars: exploring global conflicts and peace building. Also, we dive into political systems and international relations, and finally, global health and social justice. The program is intended to be a hybrid program, which will combine online workshops and forums with in-person discussions and community engagement, creating a dynamic and inclusive space for participants all over the world to connect and learn from each other. So if you're a student, a professional, or emerging leader with a passion for global change, the Bridge Project is your chance to make a difference. And thank you to the organizers for creating this platform. And to my fellow participants, I look forward to learning and collaborating with all of you. together we can build bridges that truly connect the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lenny, for this, and really focusing on bridge building and peace building came across in so many of the programs from this year as well. And from Lenny, we pass now to Shreya Amara Sakara, based in the UAE, for her project Empower Able. Over to you, Shreya.
Hi everyone, I'm Shreya, a 15-year-old student, a Sri Lankan national swimmer, and the founder of Empowerable, a youth-led initiative I launched at 14. Our program aims to help youth develop system-level change around inclusive practices using our Limitless framework. Each session focuses on a letter of the framework, allowing students to discuss and collaborate with other young changemakers like themselves, and receive guidance from the Empowerable team to ensure they feel supported with any questions or opinions they would like to discuss. We currently release monthly episodes on the Empowerable YouTube channel, explaining each letter of the framework in depth, along with actionable goals to implement them. These videos are accessible for students all over the world and will be used during the course to aid them in planning their own inclusive initiatives. As a finalist, I will be using my mentorship program to get the support I need to develop my project into an actionable program for passionate disability rights advocates all over the world. Thank you so much for reviewing my application.
Sure, thank you so much as well. Short and sweet, that was fantastic. And before we pass on to our final finalists for this category, there's some wonderful chats, messages of support as well in the chat as well. Don't hesitate to add, if there's any questions, any comments you have, either for the participants, for the jury members as well. We will be having time at the end of the session to really dig into some questions, and looking forward to next steps too. So please do add any comments and ideas via the chat. But with that being said, we now pass to Jidata Siwal from Nepal to share a little bit more about Bunk with Kindness.
Hi everyone, Namaste. I'm Dridata Silwal from Nepal, currently working at Dignity in Difference. I will start with my story. I lost my best friend back in 2023. She wasn't abducted by aliens, though honestly, she might as well believe that if social media had said so. Her views on climate change, politics, basically everything became so skewed that every conversation felt like a frustrating, never-ending debate. I threw facts her way, hoping that it would change her mind, but nope. That just bounced off. And the thing is that this isn't just my story. Misinformation is everywhere, dividing people and ideas, turning conversations into battlegrounds. That's why we at Dignity in Difference developed a Bunk with Kindness platform. Building on the years of research in psychology and behavioral science in having kind conversation that can actually help change narratives, it is an AI-powered tool that help you craft responses that are factual, at the same time thoughtful. And our idea here at Learning Planet is Bunk with Kindness Fellowship. This is to teach young digital activists online to counter misinformation while also bridging divides, whether it's your close friend or a stranger online. Though I might have lost my friend, with the help of Bunk with Kindness, I'll make sure this is the only one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your second friend.
Jidata as well. Indeed, truly phenomenal and relatable, I think, across so many different countries, contexts, cultures too. And looking forward to diving deeper over the coming months as well. We'll be sharing the link first. And I should say, so as we mentioned at the beginning, Victoria, our jury member and vice provost at Afghanistan, American University of Afghanistan, is at the very last minute in quite important political talk. She's safe and well, but she was very, very sorry to have to be unable to come at the very last minute. So it does give a little bit of a challenge to Johnson, but we can add further as well to share your reactions on what was the biggest category too. So Johnson, I pass the floor to you.
Thank you, Edward. Hope everybody can hear me okay. So I think this, looking through the projects, first of all, I want everyone here to know that you are a very selected group already, and the base number of projects that we went through, the team went through, is in the hundreds, near 1,000, right? So to be able to get here, it's already a tremendous achievement, and all of you had to overcome various challenges among your schoolwork, time commitments to produce this project, which is, I'm very, very impressed. Looking through the details, I find that I come away with a few thoughts. One is, it's very interesting that a lot of these projects have a very unique method of teaching and content delivery away from the mainstream, and that's something very important for us who looks at education, who looks at SDGs, and who looks at delivering impact, because it seems that there may be better ways, different ways. After all, many of you, or most of you, are students, and students know students best. You know how the better way of content should be delivered to you, the better way to receive knowledge, as opposed to traditional methods. And I've learned quite a lot as well going through your projects. But specifically, I find that the few projects that we discussed today, the Color Me In, sound-based learning, Bridge project, the others, what stands out to me is that, one, all of them have a clear and focused angle. They're well thought out, and they're very specific. So we know exactly what the projects are, what they're aiming to achieve, and the mode of content delivery, as well as the milestones. It's easy to measure. I think that's very important for this project and going forward, is that when you execute projects, your new projects, having that clear and focused angle, especially a niche angle, is important. All these projects are not mainstream, if you will. The topics are unique, and they stand out. And also, I think added to it is the personal stories, that each of these projects are there's strong authenticity. It's not something, and this is something that's very important, I believe. It's not something you can just, in this age of AI, where you can just ask ChatGPT to come up with various topics. It is not authentic, but it's not because it's not something uniquely to you. And all these projects have stem from your own personal stories and experiences. And I think that's what made it very, very impactful. And I think that's what made it stood out. And finally, I want to address something, Edward, if I have a little bit of time. This is the importance of we're all looking at these projects, and as you can appreciate, many submissions do overlap, right? And they cover very similar things. So I want everyone here to one of the takeaways is that if we do what everybody else does, then we cannot expect different results. Okay? This applies to this project and going forward, right? If you do what everybody else does, then you're not going to be able to stand out. These projects, the ideas, the way you deliver them, the way you present the content, the way it's presented to juries or outside world, if it's different, then there is a chance that someone will take note. And this is something I think is very important for this project and for your future.
Thank you so much, Johnson. And you covered so well as well. For two jury members, you covered all 5 projects brilliantly. And that advice, we have many of the participants from around the world who are on the call, and a huge thank you to you for coming to celebrate this challenge as well, having not got through to the final stage, but there is so many tips and learnings to be able to take away, and definitely very, very important as well moving forward. And we will have a chance to do a round again of the jury and hear some of your thoughts as well. and experiences before we close the session. But we now have our final category to dive into, and this category is on flourishing. And it should be said that this year we were really taken aback by the range and the growth and increase in numbers of programs, particularly looking at youth well-being. And that's maybe a question for us all, that why there's such an increase. But indeed, from the youth community, a massive desire in order to support fellow young people, students, to be able to take care of themselves, particularly. And so, with that being said, I give the floor first to Ayan Sasadri from the USA for his program, My Eyes, My Life. Ayan, over to you.
Thank you so much, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to our jury and global attendees. And even before I introduce myself, I want to ask you a question. Did you know that across all income groups, continents, and people, at least 1 in 4 children between 3 and 10 years of age are myopic today, meaning that they have trouble seeing afar? Medically speaking, this is because this disorder, myopia, affects the youngest children hardest. Myopia affects their academic performance, dexterity, hand-eye coordination, and self-esteem. Those of us who wear glasses or contact lenses can understand how disorienting and debilitating it is when we are not wearing them. Whether in the developed or developing world, the rate of childhood myopia is between 25 and 60%. But no matter what the cause, the sufferers are the same. Little children who are unable to even articulate why their eyes are playing tricks on them. This is where I come in. My name is Ayan Sasadri, a 16-year-old from New York, and my organization, My Eyes, My Life, is founded on the fact that 90% of 3 to 10-year-olds go to some sort of elementary school. So why don't we train those teachers on the basic signs and symptoms of myopia so that they can flag those children who show some strange behaviors due to their myopia and alert their parents immediately? My Eyes, My Life's youth ambassadors go to schools in the local area with a set prepared curriculum and teach the teachers about myopia so that they can flag children in their very own classroom. And 2,000 kids have already been reached through this project so far. Thus, the teachers become our first line of defense in the fight against this epidemic childhood condition. I hope you will all join me in this mission, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ayan. And from Ayan, we pass on to, I have the list right in front of me. Give me a second. Marta, thank you very much, Caroline. Marta from Lithuania for navigating the digital unconscious, affect, AI, and resilience. Over to you, Marta.
Hello. So it's nice to speak today. I'm a bit nervous, so sorry for problems if there are any.
No problem, Marta. You're already doing great to be here.
Are you going to share my project screen?
Please do, if you would prefer to, or would you like me to share from my side?
No.
Okay, I can share from my side. Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. So
loading gives an extra chance for a breath.
Yes, good breath.
Okay. So I'm going to start. So my program is an interdisciplinary exploration of the emotional aspects of information technology, such as social media, and the artificial intelligence algorithms that we interact with daily are designed to engage with our emotions, and they often understand our unconscious responses better than we do ourselves. So, and crucially, there's some feedback noise. Crucially, these systems are wired to amplify negativity, which has a stronger impact than positivity. So it has huge impact of how on our well-being, but also how we interact to other people and as well on a societal level. So this program aims to provide both a theoretical understanding of these dynamics and practical tools for introspection and emotional regulation to foster resilience and pro-sociality. So developing emotional hygiene is essential to avoid being overwhelmed, manipulated, or driven towards antisocial radicalization. This resilience is not only vital for individual well-being, but also for societal strength in the face of hybrid threats like climate change, war, inequality, and rapid AI development. And I'm really excited to be selected as a finalist because this program represents a synthesis of all of my work throughout my bachelor's degree and the topics that I care most about. And it's something I've long felt the need for as a social scientist and as a sensitive individual, I guess. So yeah, that's it. Perhaps you can scroll a little bit down to see the structuring of the weeks, because I just talked about my my motivation for this program. I just wanted to show that it has quite a bit of theoretical background, spanning neuroscience, sociology, and computer science as well, and evolutionary psychology, I would say. So yeah, it's a synthesis of my work as an interdisciplinary student. Yeah, thank you very much for listening to me.
You're a
Thank you for
natural,
selecting
Marta.
me.
Thank you. No problem at all. And I know that you mentioned you were nervous on doing this and wanted to continue adding and sharing more detail. And there is lots to dive into on the project page on such an important topic as well, particularly supporting training around AI and AI and ethics that came through many of the submissions for this year too. So last but not least, and I do hope Shambhavi will be able to come shortly, but we have, for the context and category of flourishing, Vi Phan from Vietnam for her program Inspire Young Minds, Inc. A Brighter Future. Over to you, Vi.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm V, a 16-year-old high school junior in Vietnam. And 3 years ago, I got the opportunity to visit the National Blood Institute in Hanoi, which is the capital of Vietnam, where patients, especially children, find themselves in a monotonous cycle of sickness treatment, missing out on educational opportunities that their peers their age get to have. So because of this, Inspire was founded to help inspire these ambitious students to ink their own future, which might be held back because of their sickness. We're a youth-led group of high schoolers across Vietnam with the main aim of bringing foundational education to students in hospitals. Inspire's classes include foundational math, English, and science experiments. Each week coming into the hospital and seeing the students whose one hand might still be attached to their IV drip, but the other is firmly holding a pen and doing their work assigned, I'm reminded again of our purpose and strive harder to build and expand Inspire. Inspire also organizes fundraising events, including concerts and art auctions, to give financial aid to children who will soon be discharged from the hospital, but because their treatment was such a financial burden to their family, will not be able to return to the school without financial aid. We're thrilled to be a part of the LearningPlanet network and hope to help more students get the quality education they deserve. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much, Vi. Fantastic work as well. And now it's the first chance to hear from one of the in-person crew. So I'm going to try not to keep looking over for the camera, but I give the floor first to Frederick from the Inner Development Goals team, real leaders globally on flourishing and inner development, to be able to share some of your reactions, Frederick.
Thank you. Students, when engaging with your ideas, I was filled with hope. Hope for the future, as I see so many young people leading the way to build a world where we all can thrive now and for the future. It was a truly honor to be able to see what you actually had thought through. And it was very clearly so that in a world, at least I feel, that is thriving, everyone should be included and their full potential realized. And that requires that we're working a lot with each other. We are each other's everyday environment. So it's the relation to each other and the future that we have to build. And we have to do it by connecting to ourselves as change agents. And that's very visible across many of the different proposals, right? When we're looking at the three finalists that you so much heard sharing their beautiful, innovative stories, I feel a strong empathy and a strong connection. I think you have been very good at finding a way, getting your hearts, minds, and souls to relate to the people who may feel further away from being able to thrive, and also between people to actually live well together in the age of AI. You have been using yourself as a unique possible tool for solution development with a strong empathy for the problems that you're and the people encountering the problems. It's very clear that all three have in different ways looked at how our interdependence as people help us to solve problems. You brought your insights, your deep connection with the people, and you brought your creativity to find new, exciting solutions. I come back to hope because all the three of you also signal hope, meaning, and purpose in all the different ways you do it. The unique specificities of this is what you've been able to be showing us, but similar kinds of ways in the different projects. And it's both hope for the ones with the problem and the ones helping to solve it. So students can be the force for good, able to connect well. Lastly, on the three ones, Ayan, for the My Eyes, My Life, you have a community mission where high schoolers can go to elementary schools to educate educators. That's a wonderful shift. You're teaching the teachers. It's amazing. And we can also see what you're building, a very relatively straightforward and scalable, if you want to use that word, approach across the globe that many can easily be helped. So they don't get an experience early in life that they don't succeed. And that's critical. So that would be both beneficial for the helpers and the help, for sure. And it provides meaning for the youth developing and supporting these ones. Marta, your program is very, very pertinent, also for me, having kids in the age. I think this approach to see humans as, from an optimistic lens, we are not what AI drives us to be at the moment. We are much better, much more than that. And we can certainly be misled and confused. But if you're finding a way of navigating this well, we can actually find ways, as you say, to disagree playfully, preserve personal boundaries, and that will lead to community. V for Inspire. It was founded to ink their future, it's a beautiful word, that the sickness holds them back from, but they can have a better life. But it's also done through a unique engagement strategy with young people that share the same interests, even if they may have different kinds of bodily strengths and weaknesses. So really empathizing with the situation for the kids and providing a better opportunity for their lives. That brings hope for the future. All three finalists, thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Frederick. And coming from indoor the room in Paris, we'll go to Durban. I believe you're in Durban, Pearl, in South Africa. Maybe in other parts of the world at the moment. Over to you for your reactions.
Thanks, Ed. Yeah, I am in Durban for now. I first want to say thank you to LPI for allowing me to be a jury member so I can sit on the other side of the Youth Design Challenge this year. It was very exciting. Secondly, congratulations to all of the finalists here. One thing you guys had in common was your amazing ideas and how you guys took your approach into implementation and execution and the unorthodox nature of it, which I think you guys should be proud of yourselves and give yourselves a pat on the back. Under this category of flourishing, I think that when I always think about the word flourishing, I always think about a bud or a seed and then blooming into many petals and formulating a garden or an ecosystem. Here, your ideas were significant of that seed or that bud, and each one of those petals were the potential person you guys were going to reach. And then the product was going to be this ecosystem or garden. When evaluating your projects, I think the clarity in which you guys have portrayed it and displayed it has shown us that that is the potential that it could have reached. Under the flourishing category, the common themes that I have seen or the connecting themes between all three projects was that it was essential for well-being and empowerment. All the projects prioritized individual and community well-being, whether it was addressing health challenges like Ayan and V's project or psychological resilience. We saw that education was used as an essential tool for change because each initiative centered around education as a pathway to empowerment, whether it was through vision care to navigate around myopia, media literacy, through digital unconscious, or it was inclusivity in the healthcare context for the patients of thalassemia and leukemia in these projects. There was also a lot of interdisciplinary problem solving to promote holistic solutions, which are very unique and very creative, where the projects employ the combination of health, psychology, technology, and education to create this meaningful impact, which is also very sustainable. And I think when Frederick was also speaking about the concept of hope, your projects gave a lot of hope, optimism, and resilience. Despite tackling really serious or severe issues such as myopia, the ethics of AI, or chronic illnesses, each project remained rooted in optimism, emphasizing the human potential and community resilience. So I just want to say that your projects are very unique through the other submissions, and it was an honor reading it, and I hope that it does get to reach the light of day. So thank you for submitting it and allowing us to also share in your wonderful impact and ideas. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pearl, and I apologize because I didn't mention in your introduction as well that you are the winner from last year's Youth Design Challenge too. Thank you so much for coming back. And there's a shout out. We have Daniel, one of our finalists as well, in person, joining and might be able to share in a little bit too. So yeah, it's great to have some of the community from last year joining on board this year too. And as part of the challenge, as many of you participating know too, we had two special awards of the second and the first place, of $500 and $1,000 respectively, for two of the finalists that the jury felt were particularly deserving and had very striking and really impressive programs. And so we wanted to highlight our Peter for her program, Color Me in second place, and then Ayan as well for his project My Eyes, My Life, came in the first place for this year. And before we come to you, we have another one of our jury members in person, Randy, who can perhaps kick us off by sharing what was so impressive about your programs for this year. Randy.
Yes, my pleasure. And thank you to LearningPlanet Institute for inviting me to participate as a juror in the Youth Design Challenge. What struck me about everyone's projects before I turn my attention to the winners was the opportunity it created for us as jurors. I think that being exposed to your thinking and your interest exposes us to so many other topics, so many areas of need, and so many possible ways of solving things. And I think that while the emphasis is on you and your projects, I think it may go underappreciated how it expands our own understanding, and that allows us to both be more helpful to you and take that learning into other things we do in our lives. It's awesome. So I'm really grateful to learn from you all. And I'd encourage everyone to explore all the projects on the site, finalists, our prize winners or otherwise, for that same reason. You never know what you might discover. So now I turn the attention to our prize winners. Ayan, My Eyes, My Life. I was struck by how the project is a great example of identifying a critical need and addressing it through system design. What particularly stood out was the program's focus on elementary school teachers as a crucial point for intervention. So I think this approach to creating lasting global impact embodies exactly what we were hoping to see in Youth Design Challenge submissions. And Arpita, Color Me In. I was struck by how it approaches a deep-rooted cultural challenge through the lens of education and empowerment rather than shame or blame. The program structure demonstrates sensitivity and a lot of nuance, sort of considering historical context and media analysis and then a more personal connection to the content, which creates space for people to process their emotions and experiences sort of in their own way. I also think there's a distinction here. All the emphasis is on youth. That in your project you identified that educating adults as well and giving educators and parents tools to examine their own assumptions helps break these cycles of learned behaviors that we're all sort of progressing together. It equips people with practical tools to recognize and reshape the narratives in their daily lives. So very impressive. So some commonalities between the prize winners that I just want to highlight for you. I think both demonstrate design thinking applied to these key intervention points, teachers for eye care, and the sort of multi-generational engagement for skin color awareness. Also, they show a deep understanding of the audiences with carefully structured sort of ideas tailored to the different groups' needs and capabilities. And finally, these projects sort of bridge divides between developed and developing nations for My As My Life, and between generations and cultural narratives for Color Bien. So I'm very impressed, very happy for you, and very excited for what you've contributed to this initiative so far. So congratulations again, Ayan and Arpita.
Thank you so much, Randy. And it's so great you mentioned that systems design kind of approach seemed to come across, and it was amazing to have you yesterday at the festival with Notion, giving the perspective of design for the future of education as well. And we'll share more insights from that after this too. But from back again in Paris to Arizona, I think via Switzerland, we have Peter Schlosser from Arizona State University with us. So Peter, if you could share from the winners what particularly impressed you.
Thank you, Edward. I just transitioned during the past few hours from the World Economic Forum to back home to the Global Futures Lab in Arizona. It was actually interesting to watch the World Economic Forum and then reflect upon this competition here. And it made it clear, listening to the state of the world, how important this competition is. We are living at a critical moment in Earth's history. We have actually endangered the future of the life-supporting systems through actions over the past, let's say, decades to maybe 200, 300 years. And a lot of these problems will be borne by and carried by the generations to come, by those who participated in this competition. So it is actually then very gratifying to see how these young people, these young minds, are actually taking on these challenges and see opportunities in them. And we saw that throughout all of the presentations, all the projects that we looked at, how well they understood that we have to approach the future differently than we did the past, that we cannot solve the issues and move into a future in which people still can thrive rather than just being saddled with problem solving by the same methods that we use to create these problems. So all of that was really gratifying to see. Before commenting on the two projects that got the second and the first prize here, I just want to make sure that everybody who participated feels like a winner, because the thoughts that were presented in each of the projects all actually gave me hope that this generation is actually embracing the approach to look at topics, themes, challenges rather than disciplines. We do need disciplinary education, but it will not make the difference. The difference moving forward will be to move on a trajectory of transdisciplinary thinking and problem-oriented, or actually solution-oriented research. And I could see a lot in all of these projects. Now, to the two winning projects, these are examples of how actual issues that we have in society right now can be defined and then can be tackled in a systematic way. So looking at myopia is something that is a big and evolving problem, as Ayan laid out very, very nicely. But he also showed that there are almost straightforward ways to go to teachers who can observe kids early in their life when there is still a chance to intervene early on so that the negative effects of this illness is not playing out more than it has to. We are also living in a world where diversity is seen critical, increasingly critical, and I see that in the US with changes in administrations. We see that around the world. We see that through problems we have with migration, and that at a time where we really, really have to work together and where we have to embrace diversity. So Peter's project was a great example of what we have to do first, recognizing that there is an issue, reflecting upon our own take on these issues, and then take actions to overcome hurdles that are introduced into moving forward into a future where all life can thrive on a healthy planet by changing our thought model and move along different trajectories. So I was really thrilled to go through all the projects. As I said, they are all great. There are no losers. You are all winners. You are our hope. If I have hope for the future, it's not my own generation. It is all of you who presented outstanding projects. And so I congratulations to the winners, but congratulations to everybody who participated. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you so much, Peter. And it's so wonderful as well seeing in the chat from some of the participants, so finalists, but also semi-finalists from the wider participants too, offering congratulations as well. And it really shows the power that this community can have too. And we will come back to that in a second. But if Bianca is still with us in between the various International Day of Education events happening in New York from the United Nations Youth Office, can you share a little bit about these prize winners for us?
Of course. Thank you so much, Ed. And well, I want to start by saying Happy Education Day, everyone. I cannot imagine a better way to celebrate it than being here with all of you. As Ed mentioned, my name is Bianca. I work in the United Nations Youth Office in New York, and I don't want to repeat my fellow jury members, but I feel incredibly inspired by being here today and by all your ideas, the energy that you bring, the drive that you have to create change, whether you're a finalist, whether you are an award winner, whether you are not. Really, you should be really proud of everything that you've achieved so far, and having the bravery to even try and put your ideas out there. I think that is in itself something really rare in the world today. Especially if we think about it from the perspective of you being young people, right? Like I'm a young person myself, but there's a big difference between you going out there and putting your ideas when you're an adolescent or when you're in your early 20s, because there's this misconception that we need to somehow grow up or hit a certain level of knowledge and experience, whatever that means, or have, certificates and other things that will prove that we are here and we are legitimate to have good ideas and have the bravery to pursue them. But this challenge really shows that that's not true, and that anybody can start making positive change, especially, in your own communities. I don't want to repeat around the areas of hope because I think Peter really hit the mark around that, but I am also really hopeful and happy to hear that all of you have, this fearless optimism, I would call it, to believe that a better world is possible. There are, of course, so many different challenges happening around the world, many of them impacting us in this room today, but if we believe that we can make the changes needed to create a better world and a better future for everyone, we can do it. And all of you here are a testament to that. And of course, Ayan and Arpita, I want to celebrate your projects specifically. Congratulations on being the finalists for this year's challenge. You really, really deserve it. There's three elements that I absolutely loved about your projects that I think are also some takeaways that we all can take when we think about what is innovation and what are some quote unquote good ideas for us to create positive change. The first element is both of you have picked very specific focus areas for your project. And it's also really clear that those are areas that you're passionate about on a personal level. And I think that is critical. Sometimes we put ourselves in the mindset of thinking about this big global issues and what are some huge things we need to tackle. But sometimes creating positive change and having the biggest impact is really about looking in your own sphere of impact and where we exist and our communities, our own experiences, and focusing on that. And if you're passionate about it, even better. The second one is I love the fact that both of your projects also had the element of bringing your communities into the work, your friends, your peers, your teachers, you know, people that you exist with, you live with. It is incredibly important, I think, in these types of projects to create a ripple effect, because this is really when we create more lasting, sustainable change. And I was a bit inspired by the things that people are posting on the chat. So also make me think of a famous African proverb that says that if we want to go fast, we go alone. But if we want to go far, we definitely go together. And last but not least, I think both of your ideas are simple. And I say this as really a positive thing. They're both simple ideas, very concrete, but yet very, very impactful. Many times when we think about innovation, and I put myself in that bucket as well, we think about technology and AI and, you know, things that might not be so accessible to many of us. But innovation is also about finding a specific niche issue and creating a solution for that specific niche issue that might not exist. And I think this is another thing that I was incredibly inspired about. So again, congratulations to everyone. I'm excited to see the impact that you all create, and have a lovely rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Bianca. And it was so rich discovering into all of these finalists that we are a little bit over time. And I should just say welcome as well to those coming in, because immediately after this, the room is kept open for a virtual expo for open to all participants over this past year's design challenge, to be put into breakout rooms connected to your themes, to be able to share it a little bit more. That's led by my wonderful colleague Mia. So for those arriving for that, or for those considering who have an extra hour, which I know, Bianca, you don't, you're diving back into the UN General Assembly. But for those that do, please do take a chance to be even further inspired by some of our brilliant young people. We have one question, and it's actually, we're delighted to have Daniel here in person, who's one of our finalists, and we also have Pearl, who is online. And actually, what we wanted to share is that this is not the end of the challenge. We want to support the development, particularly of the wider community, but particularly the finalists in this design challenge, through a mentorship program over the next 6 months. So what that looks like concretely is, for the next 3 months, there'll be sessions hosted by a range of the team here, looking at how to support and guide around learning design. What are the key ingredients of setting up a learning program? We'll then look at what are tools that can be used, particularly with AI, but not exclusive, to help to accelerate your program, whether that's through helping to communicate about it, helping to do detailed research and benchmarks, but to introduce and give the tools in hand for finalists. And then lastly, we're going to be looking at how you can make this sustainable. So how can you take all of these ingredients in learning, these tools at your disposal, and help to put it into action through looking at identifying partnerships, but also some ingredients as well of developing resources too. And then in the second half of this program, it will be focused on connecting finalists with each with mentors, to help to learn directly from mentors connect to those that can support to develop the programs further. And so we hope over this year we'll be closely documenting and supporting and sharing the development of these participants. But what we would really like to stress as well is that this is a global community, and we were really taken aback by the sheer quality of all of the participants, and we can't give the one-on-one mentorship to everyone to make it a reality. But I really wanted to remind everybody that if you haven't already seen it, we have an incredible map of all of the submissions. I'm sharing it now on my screen by country. So I really encourage you to dig in a little bit deeper to be able to see what are some of the programs for each country. So that's one way that you can connect with other participants. But then also through the actual directory you have on our platform, you can search across all kinds of different themes, subjects. You can search for different people as well, and to really connect over multiple parts of the program, over the SDGs, for instance, as well. And so we really encourage you to, after this session, we'll be sharing it to dive in a little bit deeper through that. And so that's just a couple of ingredients, but we want to be continuing to build this community over the course of the year. And I did just want to give a quick mention as well, Francois, the founder of LPI, the Institute. I know you wanted just to share in 30 seconds or so your reaction. It's hard to do so, and hopefully you'll stay afterwards. And then I'll pass the floor.
So I've been very impressed by the quality of the program. And so I want to thank everyone, starting with Ed. And all the jury members, and of course all the winners and all the participants. It was really more than inspiring. You know, we dreamt of launching such a design challenge when we've heard the UN Secretary General 2 years ago saying there is 4 ways to interact with youth. The first is to ignore them. The second is to pretend to listen to them. The third, and he said UN and many other organizations have done 1 and 2 for too long. The third one is, according to him, to have a dialogue, but the real one to be invented is to co-construct the future together. Okay? So I think, you know, you've demonstrated together that co-constructing with youth is powerful, inspiring, and can make a real difference. And as I was sharing in the chat, Louis Braille, that invented the Braille when he was 12 years old, you know, did it against the grown-ups. Okay, and when Ellen Fox Keller celebrated him a century later, she said the only thing that is worse not to be able to see is not to have the vision. Okay, and I think all of you have a vision, and all of you have an impact already, and all of you are going to grow the impact with time. You are already amazing. I wish I was, you know, 1% of where you are when I was your age, and so I'm sure that you are going to achieve, all of you, because you're all going to learn from this adventure, and you're going to learn from each other, and you're going to be able to do together something that you could not do alone. And so I'm very impressed by all this. And, you know, as many of you have been through a hard time, you might appreciate a quote that we've heard recently from a good friend of mine that is a Paralympic champion. So you can imagine what he went through, and also an amazing social entrepreneur. And he said, shit happens. What matters in life is to know how to transform this into a fertilizer. So I'm sure all of you are resilient and will be able to go through whatever problems you will face and turn it into something amazing. Because when you're already such strong, inspiring social entrepreneurs that young, I'm sure you'll produce much more fertilizer than anyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And I'd love just to give one final word to end on a youthful voice. Daniel, who is one of our finalists from last year, you can come a little bit nearer so you can see us as well. If you had one tip to share from the participants and the finalists from your experience last year, what would that be?
So I think you said this earlier, but for you finalists, this isn't the end of the challenge. It's actually the beginning, because you get to work with LearningPlanet on turning your idea, or maybe it's already a working project, into something even more amazing. So if I had to give one word of advice, I would say try to make the most out of all of the meetings that you get to have with the Learning Planet team and all the opportunities that you get because you are a finalist. So yeah, this is just the beginning.
Thank you so much, Daniel. And so that closes this part of the session, but we will be passing over immediately into the wonderful hands of Mia, who will be facilitating the virtual expo session, which is for all participants in the challenge to come together and to connect over your programs. And so please just allow for a few minutes as we transition over onto that. For those of you that want to stay, it's going to be on this link. So you're welcome to stay, but perhaps go and get a water, a tea to refresh before you come back to discover and connect with some wonderful programs. And with all that being said, we hope you have an amazing rest of the International Day of Education. We have a huge thank you, as Francois said, to all of our participants for this year, to our incredible jury, to those in person, as well and further afield too. And we wish you a brilliant rest of the Learning Planet Festival. Thank you everybody for joining.